Hello, everyone. I just want to say happy Women's History Month. We're glad to have a great segment here for everybody to enjoy. We have alumna Traci Townsend from the class of '88, who has transitioned from her career as an educator for over 3 decades to now becoming a solo entrepreneur and showing her passion for women and fitness and nutrition, which she's amassed an Instagram page has over 100,000 followers there. So we're glad to have her here during Women's History Month to share the knowledge she's gained and her passion that she has, and hopefully there's something that she can gain from this webinar. So Traci, go ahead and take it ahead.
Thank you, Seth. And thank you for inviting me to present. I am happy to be here, particularly presenting on this topic during Women's History Month. So, with that said, let's get right to it. We're going to look at fitness for women over 50, and it's specifically important during Women's History Month. Always important, but specifically during Women's History Month. And so, as Seth said, I am a graduate of Miami University, 1988. Seems so long ago, yet time flies. I also attended Shenandoah University for my master's and doctorate degrees. And as Seth shared, I am a retired educator turned online fitness and strength coach. And my certifications are from ACE as a personal trainer. And then you can see that because I specialize in women over 50, I also have some specific coaching certifications as they relate to women and also nutrition. So we'll go ahead and get started with that. Today's outcomes, I hope that by the end of this presentation, you'll hear more about how I transitioned from being that educator of 33 years to becoming an online solo entrepreneur. I'm also going to share some benefits of exercise and strength training, particularly for women in midlife. And a lot of women want to work out and don't necessarily know how. So, I'm going to talk about how to make your workouts meet you where you are and provide that appropriate challenge to help you become stronger and more fit. And then finally, how do you start and maintain your personal strength and fitness journey? So, those are the 4 outcomes for today. So, let's get started with that. The first thing I'd like to talk a little bit about is just transitioning from being an educator to an online coach. And as many things in midlife, there are a lot of changes that happen. And so when I retired from education, it was my time to do something around my passion. And my passion was all about fitness and working out. So as a result, one of the things that I did is I hired a life coach. I hired a life coach mainly because I wanted someone neutral who could listen to my desires and provide some insight into how I could follow my passion. And so my life coach helped me figure out my why, both my personal why and my professional why about beginning my own business and how to make the transformation. So, really, the life coach served as a person that would provide me that feedback and encourage me to follow my passion. The second thing that I had to realize once I decided, hey, I am going to do this, I am going to start Fitness with Traci, which was in 2021, was really making sure that I had some realistic goals. And what I mean by that is I knew that I was going to start an online business. And many people think that using social media is easy. Post it, share it, and people will come. But it doesn't happen like that. That's not accurate. You have to share over and over and over and over again. So it's really about being patient, being consistent, and being persistent. You've already established that you want to follow your passion. Now you have to set some realistic goals around that passion, around turning that passion into an actual business. And so the final thing that I did and I recommend for others is to hire a business coach. I hired an online business coach. Why? Because first of all, just like you attend school, just like I went to Miami University and Shenandoah University to learn more, I needed to hire a business coach to learn more about running an online business. And so she shares important details with me, like how do you actually move your hobby into a business? And that's really important because many people believe that just certainly because you love to do something, other people would love to receive your business. And that's not true. So, what is your desired outcome? For example, do you want to work full time or part time? You get to choose because it's your business. But one of the things that is also important is really considering your finances and your time. Those are really important. For example, I know for sure that I've retired from education after 33 years. And this for me is a part time business. It's a full time business, but I'm putting in time the way that I want to put in time. Also, you have to decide if you want to go online or in person. So, this is really important as well because your experiences in the past are helpful. If you have in person experience, let's say for me, for example, as a personal trainer, or have you worked in the gym, you can transfer those experience over into your own business. And then finally, just learning the marketing how to's. Again, if you've never run a business before, it's really important to think about the marketing aspect. I've never had to market my services before. And so hiring a business coach helped me to do that, helped me to attract my people and also be authentic in what I'm presenting and also selling. And selling is not easy. Selling is something that, again, many of us have never had to do before, but it's a part of owning your own business. So I talked about attracting my people. That's where I'd like to take you to next is talking about my people. And my people are women over 50. And that's why I specifically tailor my information and my Instagram post and my workouts to support fitness for women over 50. Here's something I always share with the ladies on Instagram and my own clients, and that's what you see here on the screen. When women build and maintain their muscle and stay active right now, their chances of being stronger and moving better and recovering from injuries sooner and having less falls and feeling better and having positive health measures and living longer, all of those dramatically increase. That's important. And it's something that we may not think about right now at age 50, but it's really important. In fact, the CDC talks about the fact that falls are the leading cause of injury for adults over 65. That's something to think about. So, for the next few slides, I'm going to talk about some changes that happen in midlife for women and then how exercise helps. So, certainly during midlife, women lose muscle mass, but it's not over. It absolutely is possible for women to gain and maintain muscle mass during midlife. And as you'll see here on this next slide, there's good news around that because strength training is key to prevent the loss of muscle mass. It is never too late to start. I have clients in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, and they are strength training and they're making gains. So it's never too late. Here's an example. There was a study done in 2023 and it's found in the International Journal of Sports Nutrition and Exercise Metabolism. It was a small study, but some key outcomes for this study. 17 older adults, 65 to 85 years old, they completed a full body, whole body resistance training program where they lifted weights for 12 weeks. And guess what happened? They built muscle. That's why I share with you that it is never too late to start. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what that strength training looks like for you to build and maintain muscle as you get older. But that's the good news. Even though women lose muscle mass, we absolutely have the ability to build and maintain it. Guess what else happens in midlife for women? Our bone density decreases with age. So really, the decrease in bone density really affects women, most likely because women have smaller skeletons and smaller frames than men do in general. And so we have less skeleton. Thus, we're affected by this bone density, decrease in bone density. And according to the Bone Health and Osteoporosis Foundation, approximately 10 million Americans have osteoporosis, and about 80% of that 10 million are women. So right there in that statistic, you can see that women are definitely more affected by a decrease in bone density with age than men are. However, let's look at the good news. Because bone is made up of living tissue, it can change and it can respond to stress. And strength training or weightlifting is a form of stress to your bones. It's good stress though. So your bones lay more tissue as it's exposed to that stress. That's a good thing. So the American College of Sports and Medicine states that combining resistance exercise, that's like, lifting weights or using resistance bands, combining that resistance exercise with some weight bearing exercises like running or jogging or walking, that helps with your bone density. Often women will gear towards the walking and running and jumping part more than the resistance. And that's why it's really important that we have to get women over 50, give them the knowledge and also the understanding of how to strength train and lift weights. It's really important that we do that and do that 2 to 3 times weekly. Again, I've got something for you about that a little bit later in the presentation. And then finally, there are changes in our cardiovascular system. So these changes in our cardiovascular system are affected by an increase in cholesterol and our blood pressure. In fact, and I want you to take away all of the points from this presentation, but if I can highlight one that many people do not know, it would be this next point, and it's around cardiovascular disease. And that is that heart disease is the leading cause of death for women in the United States. And that's so important for us to know and to understand and to highlight. But once again, there's good news around this. And that is that regular physical activity can lower your blood pressure and improve your cholesterol levels. That is huge. Something else that happens around midlife in women is we start to see what's called the metabolic syndrome. And if you look here on the slide, I explain exactly what metabolic syndrome is. It's some combination of too much fat around the waist, high blood pressure, low high density lipoproteins or low HDL. Remember, HDL is your what we call our good cholesterol, right? So you have low good cholesterol. High triglycerides. Triglycerides are fats that are congregate in your body, or high blood sugar. So a combination of those factors is what's called metabolic syndrome. However, exercise, physical activity, weight training, walking, running, dancing, all of that helps. And that's called moderate physical activity. That helps offset the impact of these particular factors in metabolic syndrome. So it's really important that we begin to move our bodies. And so you might say, okay, I get it. Like, I get that these things happen, and I get that we can offset them. So, why, with so many benefits, why are we still sedentary? Why don't we work out? And I have 6 reasons up here. One or two of them might resonate with you. Some people say, I'm just too tired, right? After a day's work, I'm just too tired. Or I'm so busy, I've got to work, I got to take care of family. And many of us, 50, 60-year-old, we have children and we have aging parents. So we're doing both, right? Some people say, I'm just not motivated. Like, I want to, but I can't get motivated to do it. Some people are just not sure what to do and where to start. Joint pain, whether it's in your knees or your feet or your ankles or your back. I share that as well. And then some people just don't like to work out. They'll tell me, Traci, I just don't like to work out. So, with all of those reasons of why you don't, let's talk about little things that you can do, right? To take a step towards being more active and less sedentary. And they sound simple because they are simple. However, it's not always easy because changing your daily activities takes action and it takes effort, right? So here are just a few things. Just changing your daily activities. Get up from your desk every hour. Many of us work from home, and so we have the computers right in front of us and we sit at our desk all day long. Get up from your desk every hour and walk around. Take some stretch breaks. And when you go out to the mall, to the store, to the grocery stores, inside your own home, when you get up to stretch, take the stairs a couple of times before you sit back down. When you go out to a building, take the stairs instead of an elevator. Those are things you can do. Park further away from your destination. Walk the dog if you have one. I know that I have a dog and she helps me get my steps in every single day. And if you're retired, walk daily. And I say that because if you're over 50, you might be in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, and you might be retired. You really need to be intentional about your movement because you're not working anymore, right? So you really need to make sure that you're walking daily if you're retired. So just change your daily activities. Now, what if you're ready to start working out? Here's how you can get started with exercise. I always say, start where you are. One of the great things about social media, if you're on social media, is that social media allows us to see all the possibilities of fitness as a woman over 50. We can see how strong women can be. And then I always say, one of the worst things about social media is we get to see all of the fabulous things that these fit women over 50 are doing. You need to start where you are and not worry about what other people are doing, right? You don't have to start with heavy weights to begin. You can use your own body weight, learn the movements, and then move from there. Like, you don't have to start with 30 or 45 minutes of cardio of walking. Start where you are. If you can walk 10 minutes and that's your max right now, that's amazing. Start with 10 minutes. The key is to keep going because the more you do, the more you'll be able to walk, the longer you'll be able to walk, and the more you'll be able to lift. So I always say start where you are. No comparisons, right? Start exactly where you are. And also, it's important for you to strength train. We saw that in the studies that I shared earlier. There are benefits to strength training. Start with 2 days of strength training. If you start with 2 days and do that for 6 or 8 weeks, then move up to 3 days. But do that once you establish a routine. Remember, this is a change, and change requires action. So once you take that action, start your routine, and then you can build on it. You want to lay your foundation first. And as your body gets stronger, you can use bands, you can use dumbbells, machines, barbells, whatever you want. That's always going to be possible. Start your cardio at 10 minutes and then increase your cardio to 30 minutes or more. Okay. But again, It's fine if you can't start out at 30 minutes with your cardio. Start where you are and increase from there. And finally, hold yourself accountable and set your priorities. There may be days where you're really, really tired, and there may be days where you just don't feel like working out. You need to manage those days and hold yourself accountable. On those days when you don't feel like working out, you might not do 20 minutes of cardio, but maybe you'll take it down to 10. It's key to be consistent, and that's what's important. So, here, what I have for you is like a sample 4-week exercise and training program, right? So, on the left, you see the time, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Guess what? It doesn't change regardless of the week. You strength train 2 to 3 days every week, all the time. Make it consistent, make it a routine. You do your cardio 2 to 3 to 4 days. I have 3 days here, but again, each person is different depending on where they're starting. And then rest, have fun 1 or 2 days. Resting and having fun, it could be going for a hike with your family. If that is something you like to do, then that would be your fun day. But I also want to add that for your cardio, do something you really enjoy. There is no need to go out and run if you don't want to run. Walking is an option. Biking is an option, dancing is an option, something that's going to get you moving and some days get your heart rate up. Because remember, we also want to exercise our cardiovascular system, our heart, and also our respiratory system, our lungs. So it's not, it doesn't look very exciting and it may not appear very exciting, but do things that you enjoy, include your strength training, and then just keep doing it over and over and over again. And so finally, it's not about perfection. It's not about perfection. Like your strength and fitness journey is really about patience, consistency, and persistence, which actually I used earlier in this presentation when I talked about my business journey as well. You have to be patient. Change takes time, right? So, whatever you're doing, it does require you to put forth effort and you need to be patient with yourself. You are starting where you are and not where you want to be, right? You're starting where you are and not where you want to be. You also want to be consistent. That doesn't mean perfect. That doesn't mean I'm going to work out 7 days a week. That's not what I'm talking about. Consistency is something that you do on a regular basis and you come back to it every single week. I'm not talking about frequency, I'm talking about consistency. So, consistency for some people may be I strength train and work out 5 days a week. That's consistency. Consistency for another person could be I strength train and work out 4 days a week. So it's about determining what your consistency is and making sure that it happens. And persistence is just really going after it, right? If it's important to you, you'll do it. You'll get it done in some way. So, again, it's not about perfection, but it really is about consistency, patience, and persistence. And that's it. And finally, I welcome you. If you have any questions for me ever, if you'd like to reach out, these are the 3 different ways that you can contact me either through my website, send me an email, or on Instagram, and I'm happy to chat.
Wow. Okay. I was taking notes myself.
Good.
Okay. Like, man, I need to adapt my little fitness routine here, and I was certainly blessed by the presentation. So we do have a lot of questions that came in for folks that are pre-registered. So we'll just kind of go through those, and then if other folks may have questions that they have during the chat during the session, we'll maybe address those as well.
Okay.
So one of the first ones that came in was intermittent fasting. What thoughts or tips did you have on that?
Yeah. Well, intermittent fasting basically can be defined as you are restricting your eating time to certain hours of the day, to a limited time
Mhm.
during the day, right? So, some people will fast, for example, from a 12-hour fast, right? From 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And there are different fasting protocols that you can follow. The idea behind it is that you're going to eat only during a certain time frame. During
Mhm.
that time frame, you also have to make sure that you control the amount of calories that you're eating,
Mhm.
because calories are what really are going to impact fat loss. So I'm assuming that this question about intermittent fasting is really around the impact that it has on fat loss. And so what it does is it just limits the times that you have to eat. The thing about intermittent fasting, especially for women over 50, I just want to make sure you understand this, is if you do practice intermittent fasting, make sure you're getting in enough protein during that time that you're eating. Is so important because we talked about the benefits of strength training as it relates to muscle mass. Well, add protein to that equation as well. Strength training plus protein will help you maintain your muscle mass and even build muscle. So, if you do decide to practice intermittent fasting, just make sure that you're getting in an adequate amount of protein during that time. I do not practice intermittent fasting, and I think it's an individual decision for each person.
Okay, so we did get a few questions on women that focused on menopause, so basically how to maintain fitness, nutrition, like what specific workouts to do when going through menopause. So if you kind of want to speak to that on how women can still maintain their physical activity and
Yeah.
eat the right foods during menopause.
Yeah, for sure. So menopause is a question, or questions about menopause is something that I get regularly, commonly, through Instagram, through my emails. And I would highlight a few things around working out and nutrition during your menopause years. I would highlight number one, know that there will be changes that occur in your body, whether it's a little ache or pain or joint pain, whether, as I mentioned, during the metabolic syndrome, whether you have a little bit more around the midsection than you used to. And let's say you might be more tired as well. So focus on a few things. Number one, I'm going to go back to protein. Make sure you're getting in your protein. So, how much protein? You can aim for zero point 0.7 to 1.0 grams of protein per your body weight, per your body weight. So that means that let's do easy math. Let's take someone who's 100 pounds, easy math, right? So that means 70 to 100 grams of protein daily. Now, it sounds like a lot because probably it is a lot because we don't eat that much protein. But protein comes in the form of animal protein, comes in the form of dairy or your meats that you eat, whether it's beef or chicken or fish or seafood. Those are some really great protein sources that will help you. So I would focus on protein. The other thing I would focus on is strength training. Strength training is really important. And again, start with 2 days. Start with 2 days. Start with your body weight. Start with resistance bands. Sometimes we're reluctant to go to the gym, and that's fine. But it doesn't take away from the fact that you need to make sure that you're using some type of resistance in your workouts. 2 days would be fine. And then the other thing is move your body. Definitely move your body, because what happens is, and you don't realize it, I promise you, you don't realize it, but the older you get, we tend to be more sedentary for a
Mhm.
number of different reasons. Let's say you're retired. Well, if you're retired, you're not getting up, going to work every day and doing things. Every little bit counts. So really move your body, like set a goal to walk a certain number of steps every day, or set a goal to join the group fitness for seniors at your local YMCA or health club. Do something that's going to keep you moving. And one more thing, Seth, I think the final thing I would focus on is sleep, because here's the thing: menopause affects sleep. So I really know that it's hard to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, but that's the goal, right? The more you can get 7 to 9 hours of sleep, the better.
Mm.
That sleep will help you get your workout in, right? Because you won't feel tired and you won't feel exhausted. And if you get into bed, you'll tend to eat fewer calories as you're sitting on the couch or the chair watching TV, being sedentary. I mean, it's all connected. So, those would be some of the main goals that I would have women aim for as it relates to menopause.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Mhm.
So I had a specific question on someone asking if they could ask to touch on the connection between muscle mass loss and weight gain as we age.
Oh, okay. Muscle loss and weight gain. So there's something called body composition. And when you strength train, you build muscle. And what body composition is the comparison between how much muscle you have in your body compared to how much fat you have in your body. So that body composition, you look better, you feel better, you perform better when you have a greater muscle mass than fat mass, or if you just simply build more muscle. So, when you talk about body composition, comparing fat and muscle, that's really what it is. The more muscle you have, many women say, I want to look toned. Well, what does toned mean? Tone is actually muscle. So, when you want to look toned, ladies, that means pick up the weights, get your resistance bands. Don't be afraid of challenge and build muscle. Building muscle will make you look toned, and that changes your body composition.
Wonderful. So would you have any recommendations on books or resources for women over 50 to help them gain more insight into the best nutrition options?
Yeah. One of the websites and organizations that provide great information for women during menopause, over 50, around nutrition and working out and everything menopause is called the North American Menopause Society. They are reputable. It's one resource that if you go to that website, you'll find so much great information around menopause, around nutrition, around exercise during the menopause years. So definitely check that out.
Um, okay. So what are sorry, here we go. So what are for your recommendation, what are the best tips to staying flexible and lean after 50, age 50?
Yeah. Flexible and lean. Well, that's a good question. I think when you move your body, like when you're walking, when you're dancing, when you're running, that helps with your movement, your mobility, and your flexibility. You can also do some stretching, of course, when it comes to flexibility. The thing about being over 50, and like I said, and this may sound redundant, but that's because the older we get, we tend to be more sedentary and still and sit. and, and we're not as active. The more active you are, the more mobility and flexibility you're going to have. So just get up and move. And again, you can also do some stretches as well. So a lot of it, Seth, is going to come back to our movement and our activity.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I have a question here. Let's see. How could you explain nutrition activity to increase the metabolic rate after age 50? What activities are very helpful to reduce abdominal and waist fat size?
Okay. So to increase your metabolic rate after age 50,
Yes.
the best thing to do to increase your metabolic rate after 50, build muscle. Muscle helps to burn energy. Build muscle. That's going to increase your metabolic rate. As far as reducing abdominal waist and fat size, two things. I'm going to say build muscle because that increases your metabolism, building muscle. And the other thing is, and this is really challenging, and this is very individualized, right? But the only way you really decrease fat is through what we call a calorie deficit. So that means that you need to look at how many calories you're eating on a daily basis. Your body, if you eat more calories or consume more energy, because calories, so here's the thing, calories are not bad. We need calories.
Mm-hmm.
Calories give us energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get that energy from food. So you need to eat food and you need to have calories. It's when we eat too many calories and we don't use that energy. And then that's when we begin to develop fat, when we don't use that energy. So a lot of this is all connected. Build more muscle so that you increase your metabolism. Walk and move your body more so you're not sedentary. And that also helps with metabolism. And then watch your nutrition as it relates to how much you're eating. What should you focus on? Make sure you focus on that protein. Make sure you focus on veggies and fruits. That's always important. Make sure you focus on fiber. Like those are three important nutrients that you should focus on as you move through this menopause time.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for answering all these questions here.
My
So we had
pleasure.
some folks that are sending questions during the live talk here, and one pertained particularly towards YouTube, because a lot of folks, have these YouTube videos that do have fitness tips and
Yeah.
workouts. So what is your thoughts on working out to YouTube videos? Is there a way to determine which ones are better for cardio and strength?
That's a great question because there are great folks out there putting up YouTube videos that you can use. And I think it's a great way to start moving. I think finding someone on YouTube that you really enjoy, that gets you excited, you like their exercise program, whatever, do it because doing something is always going to be better than doing nothing. Always, 100% of the time, it's going to be better than doing nothing. So find something on YouTube that you like and that you enjoy. There are going to be different YouTube videos that aimed at different at different things. For example, there's some walking videos, and I think those are great because if you want to start moving your body, and let's say it's cold outside, it's winter, or it's raining, go to one of those YouTube videos, put it on, and you can walk right there in your home. That is a great thing to do. As far as which videos are better, cardio or strength, remember, both of those are important. Like strength training is important as well as cardio. And that's why I say start where you are. I don't want you to think that, oh, I've got to do 3 days of strength training and then I've got to do 4 days of cardio. Like, that's not where you are right now. Don't start there. Now, if you've been doing this for a while, then yeah, up the ante and increase the challenge a bit, right? But start where you are. So any videos that are going to get you moving are useful and have a place, I think, in your program.
Wonderful. Okay. All right. So there's another one. Individuals that they're interested in using restraint bands at home for strength training, as they prefer not to go to a gym. Do you have any recommendations on how to begin or how to build strength with this approach?
Yeah, I absolutely do, because I happen to have a program called Strong Over 50 with body weight and bands. And that's exactly what it's for. It's for women over 50 who don't necessarily want to go to the gym, but they're ready to start their strength training journey. So what should you do? Go ahead and get yourself some resistance bands. Make sure you get a set of them, not just one or two, because resistance bands come in different resistances, just like you would purchase dumbbells, and dumbbells come in different weights. The resistance bands come in different resistances. One might be 5 to 15 pounds, another could be 20 to 30 pounds, different weights. And get started with that. Um, you know, if you don't want to join a program, then you'll have to do some research on the exercises that you can do with resistance bands. But yeah, in my program, I have my ladies doing seated back rows. We're doing the chest press with resistance bands. We're doing the overhead shoulder press with resistance bands. We're doing banded squats. So there are lots of exercises that you can do. You'll just have to do your research as to how to do them, because you also want to be safe. Like, safety is so important. So know your limits and know how to correct your form when needed.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Another one that came in, how can they go about creating their own workout plan, or do they need to work with a personal trainer?
Oh, well, that's a great question. I think it really all depends on your goals and where you are. So when you create your own workout plan, you can simply do a general workout plan. You can have a goal. I'm going to walk 2 days a week and I'm going to strength train 2 days a week. I think you need to know a little bit about strength training in order to know what to do. And that's a question that I get often. They're like, I don't know where to start. I don't even know what to do. That could be where you go look at some things on YouTube and see if that's helpful for you. That could be when you, yes, maybe go get a personal trainer so that they can create a workout plan for you, or Google it, right? Google everything today. Google it and figure out what are some of the key exercises that you should be doing. Let me add here, Seth, that when you strength train, you want to hit the larger muscles of your body most often. So if you are strength training 2 days a week, then you want to hit like your chest muscles and your back muscles, right? Because those are big muscles in your body, chest and back. And then the other thing is your legs. So the front of your legs, right? Those are called our quadriceps, and the front of our legs, those are big muscles. The back of your legs are big muscles. Those are called hamstrings, right? And then your derriere, those are your glute muscles. Like, those 5 areas you want to hit most often, because they're big muscles. And when you talk about, the metabolic impact, you get more when you address your larger muscles in your body than your smaller muscles. Like, a smaller muscle might be your bicep, or might be your calf muscle. I'm not saying that you shouldn't work those muscles. You just get a bigger bang for your buck when you work the larger muscles in your body.
So we have a question that came in, looks like from Miami grad, and also a former retiree from the Montgomery County Public School System. So I'll share the name with her after the broadcast ends.
Okay.
But she was asking, how does your pace affect the benefit of walking or other cardio? Is steps at 2 miles per hour for an hour better than fast steps at 4 miles per hour for 30 minutes? Does a 4 mile per hour the person have to go longer?
Yeah, there's a lot there, and all good stuff, good questions. Okay, so forgive me if I'm being redundant, but you'll see where I'm going with this. If you're just starting out, I don't care how fast you walk, how many steps you take, or how long you go. Just walk. Honest to goodness. If you're just starting out, just walk. Okay. So let's say you've been walking for a while and you made it to 30 minutes, right? You can walk 30 minutes regardless of your pace. You're walking 30 minutes, let's say 5 times a week. Like, that's awesome. Again, regardless of how fast or slow you're walking, that's awesome. What you can do is a couple of days a week, really challenge yourself. Take your walks up a notch. And yes, increase your pace for as long as you can, continuously, so that you have some days where you're still moving, you're getting in those steps, and you might be walking slower, but you have other days where you're walking at a moderate pace, right? So moderate pace is you could feel your heart beating, and it's you can hold a conversation. It might be a little challenging, but you can still hold a conversation. So that's going to be a moderate pace. So you want to make sure that you get your your cardiovascular system and your lungs some exercise as well as your body. So again, 30 minutes is great. Whether you go quickly or more slowly, it's going to be up to the individual person. I would say challenge yourself a couple of those days and increase the pace for sure.
Okay, wonderful. That's just interesting to have that connection there with being a Miami grad and also the retiree from the same school
I
district here in Maryland.
know. What are the odds? I don't know. I can't wait to
Yes.
talk
Yeah.
offline.
But to get you connected with her, yeah, that's awesome. So do you have like any particular favorite workouts that you like doing over others, or just let us
You
know?
know, you know what? And it's funny when I said you do the same thing over and over and over
Right.
again. So my workouts, they literally consist of what I shared earlier. I work out 3 days a week, strength train. I strength train 3 days a week. And it's hitting again my major muscles in the body. I actually use, dumbbells and barbells, um, because I've been training for a while, right? So I'm using dumbbells and barbells. And then my cardio consists of walking, and I'm also fortunate enough to have an elliptical. So the elliptical helps me, helps my cardio get more challenging a bit, outside of my walking. So that's really what I do on a regular basis. Am I perfect? Nope, because nobody's perfect. So if something comes, like last week, I went to a conference, and so I missed 2 days of training. That's okay for me because I was getting information that I needed to do things like this, right? So there's balance for everything. It's not about being perfect, but just about being consistent.
And do you have like a vitamin routine or vitamins that you take to kind of help you with your fitness or go along with your nutrition? Some
Yeah, that's a good
recommendations.
question. I just take a women's over 50 multivitamin. That's really all all I take. And again, if you head over to the North American Menopause Society website, you'll get information around what supplements are supposed to be beneficial for women during
Mhm.
their menopause years, whether it's perimenopause or postmenopausal. I just take a regular women's daily vitamin. let me just add also that here's the thing, like many people will jump to supplements and, miracle drugs and, green teas and green drinks before they do what we know works, and that is strength training and movement. So let's lay a foundation there first. And by all means, I'm not saying not to take vitamins and all that, because I take a multivitamin, but let's lay your foundation and then build on it from there. Like, let's do the basics, move your body and strength train, and then look into all of the other possibilities.
Okay. So it kind of wraps up our questions. Is there any final words of wisdom that you just want to have for women in general, for maybe all ages or the ones that you focus on, just to kind of encourage them, during this Women's History Month? What would your final words be for our women?
That's great. I think for all women, I mean, the great thing for women as it relates to health and fitness, and even starting your own business, right? You're seeing more and more women doing amazing things in the fitness world, in the professional sports world, whether it's, at the professional level or at the college level. You're seeing women doing great things. So don't ever underestimate what you can do or your own individual capacity to make something happen. And if you want to start that business, start the business. Just knowing that, like, it's not going to happen overnight. And that's the one thing that I think people think is like, oh, I'm going to be successful tomorrow because if I make it, people will come. And that's not accurate. They will come after they begin to trust you, after they know you, after they realize they need what you have. All of those things are factors. So, during this Women's History Month, I just encourage every woman to go for their dreams and, don't limit themselves.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm inspired. Okay, I'm going after my dreams. So we did have one question that just came in. You have another fellow 1988 graduate who has a question that just came in. What would you recommend for someone that's doing rehab for a knee injury to get their strength back? Would you prefer biking or walking or over walking?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. I'll start with saying I am not a doctor nor am I a physical therapist. So, my first recommendation would be follow the guidelines that your physical therapist has outlined for you during your rehab. That's really important. And then, if I was to answer recommending biking over walking, you're rehabbing a knee, whatever feels more comfortable. Like, this isn't about pain, right? It's about doing what you can while being comfortable. So follow your physical therapist's recommendation and do what you can that doesn't cause you pain.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So that's the last question. So I mean, I was I was taking. I promise you, I was taking notes too. I'm like, okay, what do I need to adjust here? My
I'm
little
going to
trick.
give you a quiz afterwards. So.
I know. I'm going to about to replay and make sure I get things down here because I've been on the walk. I've been doing a lot of walking on the trail in Oxford. So I've been starting out there and just trying to get myself back to a place where I'm better fit. So I'm definitely going to be looking back, get all the nuggets. I did watch a replay.
Put those trails to use. Beautiful trails. Might as well use them.
And so, thank everybody for watching. We had, again, it's a wonderful segment that we had during Women's History Month, and we hope that you were blessed and riveted with the information that Traci had provided us today. We encourage everyone to continue to watch programming on our webinar platform, as we have a lot of topics, a variety of topics and presenters for folks to gain a variety of information. And thank you again, everybody, again for watching. And I'll say love and honor.